Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right. What's going on? You all right?
Good, good, good. How are things?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm a bit of a tense
Lovely,
hour today, but I'm good. I'm good.
lovely to have you on it. We were giving you a brief introduction, just talking about the kind of work you do, what your interests are and stuff. Why don't you, for the people who are viewing us at the moment, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, cool. So for anyone that's tuned in, my name is Denisha Anderson, and ultimately I'm a visual artist, and I work predominantly within photography and motion picture. And I guess I explore themes, like reoccurring themes regarding identity, race, and gender.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So, have you got any questions lined up for us?
Mate, I'm ready. Are you ready? That's
All right, let's fire away.
cool. Boom. First one is, when you first started, what was the biggest challenge that you faced?
Haha, first when we first started, what was our biggest challenge? It's a great question. I would
Mate,
say,
I've got more, Amit. I've got more.
I would say our biggest challenge initially was just finding enough people to shoot when we first started. This is when we were kind of building up our book and stuff. It was hard to get the right kind of people who we wanted to photograph. Um, and it took a lot of time for people to understand what we were trying to do. And we didn't have access to a lot of professional models. And we were just asking like our friends. We photographed my wife, my girlfriend at the time, my brother, friends, just anybody we could rope in to kind of getting in front of the camera. We kind of pulled them on set, and we were learning. We're self-taught, right? So we were learning as we were shooting. So the people that we photograph have to be really patient because we're looking at the camera and thinking, okay, what does this do? Because we literally started when digital photography first came in, and we kind of jumped on that straight away because we knew that would be the future. And so that was our biggest challenge. And then after we started, after we had built up a book, like anyone, it was getting the work. It was okay. How do we actually get the work? Because we've never assisted, so we don't know the procedure. We don't know how much to charge. So are we undercharging? Are we overcharging? So those are the kind of obstacles. And it's only when we started to, I guess, um, build up a bit of a rep and start to meet people in the industry, we realized that okay, we actually had a long way to go. So I'll say they were our kind of main challenges.
Okay, cool. And what challenges do you face now?
What challenges do we face now? Interesting. Very good question. Um, I think, Amit, do you want to answer it?
No, I was thinking, I
Otherwise,
was reading some of the things.
otherwise I'll keep walking.
Biggest challenge now, really good question. I think every photographer, commercial photographer at our level, is on a mission to interact, engage with as many commissioners as possible, and the right type of commissioners. And I think that is always a challenge because if you ask any creative that works in a big advertising agency, they'll say back in the day they'd have time for people to come in, look through the portfolio, show them that. Now I'll speak to people and they'll be like, yeah, we get hundreds of people every month emailing us saying, look at my work, look at my work. So I think the attention game is the big challenge now, is how on earth do you make sure that you stand out from the crowd and you don't get lost in the pack? And that's where I think you can start thinking about creating work that's maybe a bit more unique and even just being a bit more personal about how you make your approach. But I think photographers' challenge is, yeah, standing out. But also, if you do have a great agent, it does really help you, and it makes that process so much easier.
Yeah,
Okay.
good answer. That's what I would say too.
Thank you.
All right. So, with that being said, so what are your career goals now?
Career goals at the moment is just to keep growing. Is to keep growing, keep pushing, keep advancing in our work. There's always new things that you need to be able to do in this industry. So first it was we just did for stills, and then we had to then we moved into film, and now with this kind of with content being so hot, it's about okay, you've got stills and you've got film, but what else can you do with those stills and with the film? Like what other assets can you create? Because before you could shoot one ad campaign and the stills would be on billboards and and they'd be in stores and stuff, and it would last for a season. Now, they may only last for maybe 1 or 2 months, and they want something new, or they want content just for Instagram or just for online. So you have to be able to deliver different assets, and I think you need to learn the skills to be able to create all those assets. So we just want to keep on advancing and making sure we can deliver on all ends, and also just make sure our name is kind of cemented as being one of the hottest kind of duos, just filmmakers, photographers in the industry. So that's our kind of goals, to keep progressing. We've got a lot more growth we need to do, a lot more we want to achieve, and that's it. Just keep on pushing.
When you said hottest, did you mean looks, or did you mean
That'll be
quality
both.
of work?
Always both, yeah.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, boom. So I'm going to get a little bit deep with you guys.
Do it.
So I've never worked on a set here, like in England or internationally, and there's someone else that looks like me. So as you've obviously reached a point in your career now, and obviously we're doing this whole brown and proud thing, how do you ensure that diversity exists on your set that is more than just a token,
That's basically what we're trying to do now. It all starts on a kind of grassroots level, right? And we had this, we did this talk on the AOP when we were talking about how do we get more creatives of color into the industry, and you're right, who aren't just token. And it starts with speaking to people very early on in their careers. I think, firstly with the family, okay, how do we get people just to kind of take that first step into the creative kind of process, and how do we then support them along their journey? Because it's not an easy journey. It really isn't. There's so many other ways to make money quicker than the kind of industry that we're in. But if you're in this for the long term, because you'll realize after a certain period of time, the money and everything just comes. But you really have to earn your stripes, and you have to earn your and hone your craft to be a master at what you do. And sometimes, with kind of minority backgrounds, if the family and the social people in your kind of social circle aren't seeing the results, it puts pressure on you. So we have to address those kind of things, and then just kind of again offer support and encourage. I think so when you start at that grassroots level, eventually it will kind of trickle down to you will start seeing more people in the industry, because you can't just expect to be shooting for 2 or 3 years and then shoot ad campaigns. It doesn't happen. You have to be in it for at least 10, 12 years, and that's a long time to kind of stick in it and stick with it. So I think that with that kind of support, we can start to see more color in the industry. It won't be a matter of, okay, let's just grab some juniors and put them on set because we need that kind of diversity angle. We need some assistants who can help make the set look more diverse. I just don't think that's going to really do it justice. What we need to try to achieve.
Yeah, no, of course, but obviously that's long term. But I mean, like specifically with your sets, like, are you saying that you guys are still the only brown people on your sets?
I don't think
when we look, sometimes with styling and glam and makeup, you will get the odd person who's from a minority background, but a lot of the time, you don't see a lot from ad agencies. You don't see a lot from kind of creative departments. You really don't. A lot of the time, there would be white.
But I mean, but what I'm saying is that do you not source the crew that for yourself? So
no. So we have no control over obviously the agency we work with. We might have a preference for certain stylists and makeup artists, but we can only push them as much as we can. Ultimately, the agency has does have the decision. Everything has to get signed off. So we do try to bring in crew that we know who can do the job. But to be honest, how many makeup artists do we know who are from an ethnic background? Not too much.
But I think in terms of our end, Denisha, in terms of who we source, we always look at right person for the job. I think as much as we're living in this world of we want to get more diversity on set, we look at it as who is the best person for the job, who do we know in our book? Simple as that. And if they happen to be white, brown, yellow, black, pink, it doesn't matter. And I think it all comes down to people realizing that they can, of any background, that they can do any trade. Simple as that. And you have to be in it to win it. So if we look at, for example, at a roster of assistants, anyone could be an assistant starting out. It doesn't matter about your background or your color, right? And we'll always just pick the right people for the team. We will never just say, oh, we think we're doing a shoot today, so we should make sure we've got one person of this, one person of that, one person of that. That's irrelevant and illogical, in my opinion. It's more about who's going to deliver, who do we like, who's put the effort in. And one of the tricky things about mentoring young people is so many people will be on this and they'll be watching, be hyped up and be excited. But when it comes to the crunch of actually making that effort of contacting a photographer, being persistent, they just kind of filter out. So it's kind of like, I wanted to be on set with you. It sounded all great, but then just something inside me stopped me. And I think that's, for me personally, one of my biggest frustrations is I meet so many young people in the photography industry that have an immense amount of talent, an immense amount of potential, but for some reason they just drop off and they don't utilize it. And I think that's where distractions come into it. I think they get distracted by other things. But we've said so many times, we've done talks at like the big photography shows and said, look guys, there's 500 of you who are wanting to be a photographer doing what we do. Send us an email if you want to come on set. And nowhere near as many people get in touch as they could have.
Yeah.
And we would have been down to help all of them, regardless of their ethnic background. So I think the conversation, yes, it's about Brown and Proud, which is interesting, but more than anything, it's about people just committing to what they say they're going to do. So if you said to me you've never been on a set, there's nothing stopping you personally emailing or contacting loads of photographers and saying, look, this is me, this is who I am, when can I come along and shadow you? And frankly, your color, your background doesn't even need to come into it. It's more about you just being persistent and saying to someone, look, I would love to come along. We always love people saying, the amount of jobs we'll have, and we'll have assistants will say, look, 2 or 3 of you can come along as well. There's no budget, but you can come along and watch the day. That's the best way to get experience and the best way to get stuff done.
Yeah.
So I would really encourage you to just be persistent. I've looked at your work. Your work's brilliant. You could offer photographers a service where you come along, even take some behind the scenes shots for them. That's a great way to build a rapport and a relationship with them so that they will definitely call upon you in the future. So that's my take on it. Be proactive.
No, I'm definitely proactive. I have assisted a photographer in the past. A shout out to Yost, because I assisted him for like at least 3-4 years, and he was like the only real guy that was trying to give me an opportunity. And the reason why I'm asking is like, I understand that skill and talent is definitely essential when it comes to working, but when you are a person of color, and I definitely know both of you know this, that opportunities do lack, and with the powers that be. Do you know what I mean? So it's about, so when I'm asking if you're making your sets a little bit more diverse, I'm not saying just pick someone brown for the sake of it. And if in your books are limited in those people of color, then those books need to be expanded. That's what I'm saying. Because I can definitely reel off a couple of makeup artists now who are of color, that are absolutely exceptional at their work. And I don't even work with makeup artists. I just know them because I've seen the work that they're doing, and they're putting themselves out there. And I think presentation is very important, and to see yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, if I was a young Indian geezer and I see you guys, that's inspiring for me. So therefore, I want to work with you. I want to have the chance to talk to you. But, and if I've got those skills, but maybe I'm not as like out there on social media, it doesn't mean I'm still not worthy enough to come and do that. So it's about extending that hand, because those who have the powers, they don't extend those hands to us.
Yeah, no, we totally try to do that. We really, really do. But then there's a difference in extending the hand and dragging people, right? When you extend the hand, the other hand has to come towards you too. And sometimes we feel like we're trying to get people into the industry, but they're not giving us the same energy back, right? And that's where it has to be kind of like a two-way street. They've got to give us the same, and we're quite strict like that. If someone doesn't put the effort, we won't use them again, no matter what they look like.
Yeah, no.
So and we don't want to feel like we're giving charity to people. Like, we'll offer it always, because you're right. We are role models to a lot of Indian, but anyone from a kind of a minority background. But we don't want to feel like, oh, we're just choosing you because you're that. You have to have the work ethic to really kind of belong on the set too. So So that would be our
And
answer.
I think something as simple as this industry moves really fast, Denisha. So just getting back to people quickly is key. Like sometimes we'll say we've got a job and it's next week, and someone, you know, an assistant may get back to us in 3 days. That's not going to cut it because that position's gone. And someone's read the message on WhatsApp. They've been doing other things on Instagram, and you're thinking, hold on, you're the one that said you want to be where we are. We've just offered you an opportunity. Why on earth are you prioritizing on other things? And it's like, yeah, it comes down to hunger, and people will say they want to do it, but whether they really want to do it is another question.
Before we move on to the next question, I'll add one really interesting point, and this is from a prime example. We got a makeup artist once on set that we knew who was Indian, and we tried to help them out. And because they were Indian and she was Indian, we were Indian, she almost felt like she could be really super casual with us, right? And she didn't deliver. She was on her phone during the set. She was unprofessional, and it really irritated me because she made us look bad, right? And it's almost like, if we're going to bring you on, and yeah, you might be Indian, you could be black, you could be anything, you still got to respect us for who we are. Just because we're the same color as you doesn't mean you can, like, you know, treat us like a friend. Like, that level of respect has to be there because you're representing us on set. So that happens sometimes, we can't afford that to happen on set. So but now we've kind of squashed that by making sure we have conversations with people beforehand and said, look, you know, you're representing us on set, so we have to keep everything professional. No phones on set, like no Instagramming, nothing. Let's focus on the work. So that would be another reason, you know, something else has happened when we try to help people.
Yeah, but obviously she was just a trash bag, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's just basics, you know what I mean?
All right, let's get on to the next question. And for those who have just joined, I just want to say we're speaking with Denisha Anderson here, part of our Brown and Proud series, where we're speaking with creators of color and trying to help them out on their journey. Next question, Denisha.
So I find it difficult myself to price my day rate and my work. Like, despite having about 10 years experience, I find people always still trying to haggle or ask for free work, and then when you ask for a budget, they're like, poof, they disappear, right?
Yeah.
So how did you overcome any of these issues in regards to budgeting for yourselves? And more importantly, how did you all work it out? Like,
yeah. I think to your answer there, I think you're dancing at the wrong party. So if you think about this logically, you said you're going back and forth with people on budget. They're not necessarily paying you what you feel you deserve. Maybe you're pitching and working with the wrong people who don't fully value what you do, or maybe those people have got other options as well. Because if they could, you could charge what you want if you were the only person in that market. But I think it is a crowded market now. So I think showing your value is really, really important now. And I think that's one of the things we realized early on, is that you've got to.
All right, sorry.
You breaking up now? You got us?
Are we back?
You froze.
Oh no!
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but you're not moving. Hold on.
I think your signal might be a little bit weak on your end. Oh, there you go. We're back.
You got us now?
Are we good?
Yeah, sweet.
I was saying,
yeah.
Listen, the problem of charging correctly is always a major issue for so many people in so many industries, and it all comes down to finding the right people that value you. What's your biggest frustration at the moment? You said, so you're doing, you know, people want you to work for free. They're not paying you what you deserve. Explain a bit more on that so we can get a head around this.
So basically, yeah, like, I get mad DMs from bare people like, your work's sick. Oh my God, I love you. Yeah. Then I'm like, cool. I really need to do some work with you. I'm like, awesome. Have you got a budget? And I'm like, yeah, let's work. My word. Poof.
Yeah.
They're missing. Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, and then they do this whole thing of like, well, you tell me how much your day rate is, babe. All this like flouncy, that language or whatever. I can't give you a day rate when you're not telling me what the specifics of what you want. Do you know what I mean? Like, everything adds up. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard to. I just feel like people just aren't really respecting the craft of what photography is.
Yeah, it's hard at an early stage. It's hard at an early stage. That used to happen to us, but now because we're represented, we don't deal with the kind of financial negotiations. That our agents deal with that, which is which is kind of cool for us. So we don't have to get down in that nitty-gritty.
And also, we're blessed that we've got the bigger brands we've worked with that say, you know, you can tell that they pay accordingly. And I think I totally feel your pain starting out. Like, that was a huge challenge for us. I think you have to remember that, you know, not everyone is your client and not everyone will pay you what you want to charge. And you talk to any creative who's even at the top level, they'll still feel they're undercharging. There's guys that charge £50,000 for 2 days. I guarantee if you ask them, they still feel they would love to charge more than that, right?
I think you should have some flexibility with the price as well, because not everything has a monetary value. Like, if you do one job, it could be worth more to you in the long run than like 500 quid. It could get you so much work. So I think if you could be flexible and treat it based on job by job and thinking, how's this going to help my book and help my career, then yeah, you could do a job where you get paid significantly less if you know it's worth your while in the long term. So, and then when you get to that point where you've you know, got a great body of work, then, you know, you have your day rate, you know, people will just pay you what you deserve.
And, you know, even for us a few years ago, we done a shoot for free in a boxing gym, didn't get paid anything, spent a couple of days shooting, editing it. That landed us a really big advertising campaign that was quite lucrative. Yeah. So don't assume that, you know, people that have been needing like us for this long just get paid their fees all day long. We still at this stage do work for free if the project is right.
For personal work.
Yeah, and if we can see the potential in it, then you still need to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks. Got another question, lads.
Okay.
Please.
In short, right, I believe my body of work is strong. Yeah, like I rate myself. And but I do feel like there's something always that because my work's either not getting picked up the way that I think it should, or like I'm not obtaining like solid opportunity. The work, like, do you have any tips for me? Like, do you think there's something missing? Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not getting any sniffs.
I've got a thought on that. So I love your work. I've seen your work. I think it's different. I think even the Cop Chronicles is a really brave, interesting project that I think is crazy. And what I would love to see on your Instagram and your website is more of your personality come across. Like talking to you now, you can see that you're a super vibrant, confident young woman, right? I think more people need to know about you and your personality. And I think people will book you 50% based on your work, 50% based on your personality, in my opinion. So I think you're doing everything exactly right. But I think what you could do on your Instagram perhaps is do a series of videos like this where you literally talk to camera and you talk about your projects, because that way people can get a feel of you and your personality. And you know, when you said you're going back and forth on DM with people, etc., they don't know how you sound even. They don't understand your confidence. All they're seeing is just text coming up. And when you read text, you're assuming the other person sounds like this, right? So my advice to you would be to do a simple series of videos where you actually talk and you sell your personality. And I guarantee you that you will stand out from other photographers and filmmakers in your industry, and you will have an increased chance of winning work. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, good point. Exactly what Amit said. I think sell yourself.
Is it more like because of the time that we're living in now? Because I mean, like, if you were starting out, obviously you were, you know, putting yourself up on camera. Do you know what I mean? So because of it's 2020 and
No, you cut out a little bit, so I kind of I'm just got a little bit of your answer, but I think like you have to sell yourself, because if you think about it, when you're hiring someone, you're actually hiring the individual. So yeah, someone's work could be great, but if they're not a nice person, you know, would you want to work with that person? Probably not. So every artist, just as BubbleJam.Sam said here, all artists have to put themselves out there. They have to sell themselves to make themselves stand out. And that's part of what makes Amit and I different, is that we do sell ourselves. Like if you look at some people's Instagram account, it's all work, right? Work, not a single picture of them. With us, is majority is who we are, and behind the scenes photos up on set, you know, stuff that we're doing, talks, promoting stuff where people can get to know us more, because the work they can see on our website, you know, that's not a problem, but they can't get to know us on a website as easily. So let people, get to know you, that you're, got amazing personality, are you full of energy, and people are going to be drawn to you. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I said, as a creative, as a photographer and a director, you need to have a magnetic personality where people are drawn to you. When you're on set, everyone feeds off your vibe, feeds off your energy. They when they leave, they want to miss you, and they want to be back with you, and you want to almost make them feel like, wow, when I worked with Denisha, it felt so amazing. And then if I work with someone else, it didn't feel as good when I worked with that person. Denisha's got something really special. And if you can sell that, and if you can push that, that's going to make you stand out. And they can never be another Amit and Narup, right? They just can't be, because we're unique, right? But someone else could make work similar, but they can't be us, and someone else can't be you. So what are you pushing? Something that other people could duplicate theoretically, or are you pushing yourself?
And Tyrone made a really interesting point there. Does mystery inspire intrigue?
Well, yeah, look at Banksy.
Interesting, but flip side is people now have a low attention span.
Yeah.
Can I be bothered to find out what this guy's like, or would I rather just see it now?
Yeah.
Is the $1 million question. In an ideal world, if there was only one photographer or filmmaker, I could maybe have the patience to find out. There's millions of other people. So if it's not this guy, I'm just going to look at someone else who I get straight away, because I've got a million other things to do that day. So that would be my take. And it is a really crowded market now, super crowded. And I think you have to do everything in your power to stand out and ensure that your name is at the top of people's minds. Does that make sense to you, Denisha?
Yeah. No. I mean, I've been trying to do a couple of little bits of your personality malarkey, because I DJ as well. So it just feels a little bit intense sometimes. I feel a little bit of a narcissist, but I know it's a part of the thing now. But
it's all part of it. It's all part.
You have to accept it. That you have to accept it's part of it now. There's no hiding. You can't do that anymore.
I know. I'm just saying it. I'm trying to warm up, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we got an interesting point here from Rhiannon, who said, you can split it between your feed and your stories. And I totally agree. You've got to have the balance. But it totally depends upon what works for you. It totally depends upon what works for you. Like, for us, we found we get much more hit rate when people are seeing more stuff about us rather than just the work. So it does totally depend.
And don't just look at it as photography. Look at it any industry. The founder of every company has never been so important. When you think of Amazon, everyone talks about Jeff Bezos. Back in the day, it was just the name of the company. That was enough. Every single person now is, fascinated and curious about the founder. What do they believe in? Why did they set the company up? Why do they love doing what they do? And that says it all. So that's just bigger than photography right there. And hopefully that will inspire you and motivate you to try and get yourself across. But you're super confident and you're fun, and I think those are the main things, And if you can work on getting that across, you'll smash it, Denisha, and you'll definitely make some progress.
Yeah, Tyrone makes an interesting point. If your work's similar, that's probably the issue. It can be the issue. Also, sometimes clients are very specific, so they want a certain type of work. So you might do brilliant work, but it's not right for that brief. And that happens to us all the time. We're known for a very specific type of work and style, and we won't always win all the jobs that we want to win. So you can't win them all, and it frustrates us even to this day as well. All right. Any? I think we've got time for one more question, Denisha.
All right, one more. All right. So, this was like my quiet question, and I say it's my quiet question because I was worried to ask it, because I feel like if I ask things that are basically real and something that I've experienced, I find that people get in defense, and it also can jeopardize how I move forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if you confront a situation, it doesn't matter the tone of which I present it. Yeah. Like in terms of this conversation now, immediately if someone doesn't like what you've said, they become immediately on the defense, and then I immediately become the stereotype of someone being intimidating and aggressive. And so, in terms of how I operate through the industry, how I speak to certain people, I have to police myself, because I already know that there are certain stereotypes that are hovering over me. So with that being said, I'm working out whether I want to ask you this question. That's what this is. I guess I'm just gonna say that's it, basically, innit? That's the best way to do it. So, in my experience, yeah, I found that my gender. I've had my boss argue with me as to reasons why I didn't deserve to get paid, but my male counterpart, who only was an intern, who got paid, was more valuable than me when I was setting up a sister company. And with that being said, also, I've had coffees with one of the biggest gaffers who's worked feature films. I sat and had a coffee with him, and I was like just starting out, and he said that ultimately, like in his 30 years at the time, like he's never seen a black female on set, especially in the department that I wanted to be in, because I wanted to be a cinematographer. And he said the reason why it's not going to happen because it's sexist, it's racist, and ultimately your appearance alone is deemed as threatening. That's what he told me, and I was 23. Wow. So when you hear these things and you're trying and you're persisting, you keep on going, right? It's hard to keep the faith. And I say it's hard to keep the faith because it seems like the industry is against you. And then, obviously, what feels good for you. But in that same breath, it takes longer, it's a lot harder, finding money, yada, yada, yada. So, and then you've got people like Naomi Campbell, who gets shot for the first time in her career by a black photographer. This was, I think, last year or 2018. And he got that opportunity from creating his own photography studio and his own magazine, just to have this little opportunity.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you now, with all of these things and all of these factors, and the industry is still not rating you just because ultimately I've got a little bit more melanin than them. Do you really believe that opportunities exist from your experience? Because obviously you started up your thing, I think, 2003 or 2004. And, well, obviously you're still doing it now. So I guess, do you believe that the opportunities really are there? Or is it just do it for yourself? Because no one really trying to help you.
Yeah, I kind of get what you're trying to say. Like, how do we basically create more equal opportunities is I guess, and how do we push more, more creators of color, females creators of color? I know it's even more difficult being a female too. How do you push it? And I don't think there's one answer to it. I really don't. I mean, that's the whole reason why we started these discussions and why we're doing this work with the AOP, where we're doing monthly talks, where we're speaking with creators of color who are successful. And we spoke with Othello last week, and it's such a difficult question, but it's I think, like I said before, it starts on a grassroots basis. We have to almost create a lot of noise and kind of get people talking about it, because unless people don't see that there's people are frustrated by the situation, nothing's going to change. And the AOP have been really good in noticing this and kind of saying, look, we do need to highlight this, and what can we do collectively to make this difference? Because it's not going to happen overnight. It just isn't. It has to start from education, because you have to start at a very early age. And I was telling actually Trey, who we spoke to yesterday, he rang me after our discussion, and I said to him, look, you've got to start, I think, when you're really young to get into the industry, when you've got that enthusiasm and the energy to start to kind of give it all and to learn your craft. And if you don't start then it gets harder and harder as you get older, because you've got more responsibilities, you've got financial pressure, you can't put the time in. And a lot of people start when they're older and they just haven't got the time to develop their skills to get into the industry. We started when Amit was 19, I was 21, and for 10 years we just slogged our asses off to basically to learn our skills. And unless you don't do that, you're not going to make it. And then color, yes, it can make it difficult, but yeah, maybe we have to work twice as hard to make the difference. Yes, we're going to face discrimination. How do we challenge that? you know, by speaking openly about it, by telling people we're unhappy about it, and hopefully with repetition, things start to change. You know, but saying that there's one way to fix it, I just don't think there is. I think what it needs is collectively people to come together. It needs more people like Amit and me and Amit to mentor young creatives. So other creatives of color need to take other young artists under their wing and really help them, you know, guide them through the process. Even if it's financial support, offer financial support. You know, these are the things that's going to make the difference. You know, otherwise it just won't happen because it's too hard. It's quite simply is too hard to do it, you know, unless you've got some guidance. You know, in a way, Amit and I mentored each other. We were there to support each other throughout the whole process. If we were alone, working alone, would we have probably made it? Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah.
It's too easy to quit. It's too easy to quit. You know, like, you know, I was going to get another job. I'm not getting paid anything. No one likes my work, or no one understands my work. No one understands me. You know, I'm just going to quit. But then if you got someone else saying, "Come on, man," you know, let's come on, sis, whatever. Let's come on, bro. Let's push through. We can do it. Then you can help. So it's support, it's mentorship, it's education, it's so many things that have to come together. But it all starts from one planting that first seed, and that's what we're trying to do: is plant that seed now and think, okay, we've done this. We're doing these 5 days of discussions. Should we keep it going? You know, do we need to be doing more of this? You know, we're offering mentorship to everybody who we speak to this week. Happy to help. You know, can that start to spread? Can more people get inspired by that? You know, that is the process. But and you know what? Yeah, we are in a fortunate position where we are. We can call ourselves successful. And guess what? We're going to do everything we can to help with this initiative, because it's frustrating for us too that we don't see anybody else of color in the industry. We'd go to the photography show, and yeah, you might see wedding photographers who are from minority backgrounds, but not commercial. We do talks at places, and yeah, there would be no one of color there. And we would think, why is that happening? You know, we didn't have the power then to make a difference. We've got the power now to make the difference.
And, you know, I think to summarize, Denisha, you've got to remember, it's always impossible until it's done, right? So even if you look at America, someone like Obama, 100 years ago, would we have had a president like Obama, right? Like, things are changing, right? And it's like, ultimately it comes down to I'll harp on about this all day, your self-belief. You know, like, yes, he made so many valid points. We need more help and support. We need industry. We need associations. We need mentorship. We need guidance. But ultimately, it comes down to yourself and backing yourself fundamentally, because we've always done that. We've never, you know, when we started, there wasn't a way that we could say, oh, look, we're two young Asian photographers. Can anyone help us and give us a leg up, please? Didn't even contemplate that. You know, we literally we just worked and we grinded and we were persistent, and that's all it is. I think there's a danger, and it's difficult if you've been stung before as well, and you've experienced, you know, trouble. It can affect you, and it can taint you, and it can knock your confidence, right? But I think you have to learn to be thick-skinned and be really resilient in any industry you're in order to progress to the top. But we are here for you if you need our help or support after this.
Yeah, we're totally down to
help you out. You know, but I believe you've got potential. You know, we've seen your work. You're confident enough to talk to us now on here. You know, you asked a brave question just now, so you obviously are not scared. So I would say just put yourself out there more and keep plugging away, and you will make progress.
All right, lads. Well, thank you.
Awesome. Well, listen, Denisha, it's been so fantastic to talk with you. Our line is totally open. Email, phone us, whatever you need to do. We're here to help you, and I hope you found this session today valuable.
Honestly, I appreciate your words. I appreciate your time, man. Look after yourself. I might be texting you.
Yeah,
100%. Thank you so much.
And to everyone who's been watching, thank you again so much. We've got 2 more days left. And tomorrow we'll be back on the @Trader Instagram at 1 o'clock. See you guys then. Take care.